your top stories on Wisconsin 360.
Well, good Wednesday morning. I'm Phoebe Murray. You are watching Wisconsin 360, a daily live stream bringing you a look at developing stories and markets all across the state, plus a live check of your first alert forecast here in southern Wisconsin. Today is May 13th, so here's a look at your top stories. Starting in Madison, controversy over a concert. The Watertown School Board decided to pull a song for an upcoming high school band performance. That piece was written to honor the 1969 Stonewall Uprising, a pivotal moment in LGBTQ history. And last night's decision sparked protests outside, a packed meeting room inside, and public comment that had to be extended again and again. And then things got heated. Take a listen.
You're an embarrassment to the country.
I've been able to...
That's it! That is it!
So yelling on all sides of the room here after more than an hour of public comment that was extended 5 times by the board. They voted 7-1 to remove the instrumental piece from next week's concert after some board members called it indoctrination. Parents, students, and band members also argued the music and its historical ties are important for students to learn and should not be pulled from the show after months of hard work practicing.
I don't think you guys understand how hard it is to listen to you guys not accept them, because I know what it's like to not be accepted.
At the end of the day, everyone on this board, like I said earlier, ran to stop indoctrination in the classrooms. I know what happened because I was here, and many other people have seen examples of it for themselves, and this is the clearest example we have seen so far as a board of this happening.
So the board acknowledged that the band director did notify parents of the song choice and follow protocol, but ultimately they decided to pull the piece now just a week before the concert. After that vote, the board continued to refuse comment when our crews asked about their decision. The man accused of killing a construction worker during a drunken, deadly hit-and-run crash is headed to trial. Michael Martin waived his preliminary hearing in court yesterday. Martin is charged with 7 counts, including hit and run involving death. He's accused of hitting 23-year-old construction worker Carlos Lopez last month. Officials say Lopez was putting out traffic cones on South Stoughton Road when he was hit and killed. Martin is scheduled to be back in court on June 12th. Crews are currently working to repair headstones after a deadly high-speed crash at Oakwood Cemetery in Beloit. The crash happened last month on the 1300 block of Woodward Avenue. Take a look at this new video. Part of the fence you see is still knocked down, and there's crime tape, yellow tape blocking off the area. You can also see tire marks on the ground from the truck. Police say the driver, 19-year-old Stephen Mead, lost control of his pickup truck while speeding and crashed into the cemetery. 22-year-old Jacob Velis Munoz, who was a passenger, later died from his injuries at the hospital. Now, we spoke with the girlfriend of Velis Munoz, who shared what she'll miss most about her boyfriend.
Probably just the late night conversations, talking about the most random things, bullying each other for what? Who knows? Just endless amounts of laughs. There's just so much to miss about him.
So Mead, the driver, was in court Monday. His bond was set at $100,000. He is expected to be back in Rock County Court next week for his preliminary hearing. And those are the top stories coming out of Madison on this Wednesday morning. But let's now head northeast for a check of the top stories out of Green Bay. Here's morning anchor at BAY, Emerson Lehman.
Hi from Green Bay, I'm Emerson Lehman. Here's what's making headlines in northeast Wisconsin. No school today at Woodworth Middle School in Fond du Lac after a fire damaged an art classroom overnight. Fire crews were called to Woodworth Middle School just before 1 o'clock this morning. They arrived at the school and saw smoke in an art classroom there, and they found a fire in the kiln room next to that classroom. The fire was out in 5 minutes. That kiln room heavily damaged, while the classroom has minor damage. The school district will be assessing the damage today. The cause is under investigation. City of Oshkosh moving forward with the plan to buy the city center. The city looking to purchase that riverfront property for $12.5 million. The building currently features a number of small businesses, meeting areas, and parking garages. At Tuesday's meeting, the board and members of the public discussing if having the city manage those sites is the best idea.
What puts the city in the driver's seat? What puts it in the driver's seat to get the most out of that property and preserve what it's already getting? You know, because you don't want to destroy the nearly 30 businesses I just rattled off.
While the city center has successful portions of it, I think a member of our businesses came up here and presented that to us. I think the site, by and large, is underutilized.
The City Plans Commission will now make a formal bid for the property. If approved, it will head back to the Common Council for a vote. Well, taking a look here at Lambeau Field, the Packers ready to host Luke Combs this weekend. It's the first concert at Lambeau since Paul McCartney back in 2019. Organizers say they're expecting roughly 35,000 to 40,000 fans Friday night and another 50,000 on Saturday. Crews are transforming the inside of the stadium, but we're not getting a final look until a bit closer to showtime. We're told Lambeau Field was on the country superstar's bucket list to play a concert there.
Well, the artist actually wanting to play here and really wanting to be a part of the community. Luke is, very particular about, where he wants to go and what he wants to do. And Lambeau Field was on his list, on his bucket list, so quote unquote, to play here.
If you want some custom Packers Luke Combs merch, the Packers Pro Shop already starting to sell it. To learn how to snag tickets before they sell out, you can head to WBAY.com. Perhaps some of you will be here in Green Bay for the concert this weekend. We look forward to welcoming you here. That's what's making headlines in Northeast Wisconsin. I'm Emerson Lehman. Have a great day.
Emerson, thank you. And for any more on those stories, you can head to their website, WBAY.com. We're going to take a quick break, but you're watching Wisconsin 360. We'll be back with more top stories from across the state in 60 seconds. Welcome back to Wisconsin 360. We're going to head now to Western Wisconsin for a check of today's top stories out of the Eau Claire market. Here's morning reporter at 13 News, Kelsey Snitz.
This is a Wisconsin 360 News update from WEAU 13 News. I'm Kelsey Snitz. Eau Claire has a new interim city manager. The city council has appointed Dave Solberg to the role. He's held the position before from 2020 to 2022 and then served as deputy city manager until former city manager Stephanie Hirsch's resignation last month. Solberg says he plans to get to work right away, tackling the city's $2.2 million budget deficit.
Our biggest, most acute item to tackle is going to be the budget. We're starting with the capital budget right now. That'll be finalized in June and then voted on by the council in July. And then we'll jump into the operating budget, and that's the one that garnered so much attention earlier. So getting the budgets in order is top priority, and then making sure our city's ready for all the special events that we'll have this summer. And then we have a downtown parking getting unveiled for the Paid On Street program this summer as well. So we have a lot of work to do, and we're just going to keep moving forward like we always do.
Now the city will begin the process of hiring a permanent replacement. Council members held a work session last night where they ultimately leaned towards an internal search with plans to begin quickly and potentially holding interviews as soon as the end of this month. Council members also voted unanimously to submit a community development investment grant for the Condesa project at Haymarket Landing. The $250,000 grant would help redevelop the long vacant commercial space there. Foxconn Technology Group originally purchased the nearly 8,000 square foot space in 2018, but plans fell through, leaving it empty. Now, nearly a decade later, a Latin-inspired steakhouse called Condesa is set to become the next tenant. We spoke with the owner, who says the grant would help cover the extensive renovation.
Going to be a big open concept, open kitchen. You can see the flames that they're cooking with. We'll have craft cocktails. I'm super excited. We acquired the property already, so we can actually get started and see actual movements get done. So in that sense, I'm really, really excited to get started and get it open as soon as possible.
Documents filed with the city say the restaurant is expected to create 30 to 40 jobs, as well as $2 million in annual revenue. The Committee on Parks and Forests for Eau Claire County has settled on the rental rates for the new cabins at the Coon Fort County Park. In a unanimous vote, the committee decided that cabins will cost $110 per night during the week and $130 a night on the weekend this summer. These rates would decrease in the off-season months and are awaiting approval from the County Board of Supervisors. The committee also looked into expanding the list of county parks where horses are permitted. The proposed equestrian use policy will be revised before it's examined again during June's committee meeting. In Chippewa County, Wheaton Fire and Rescue is looking for the culprits responsible for vandalizing their training equipment. The city's fire chief says all the windows were broken out of a tractor trailer they use for training, and parts of the motor were taken off. Although the vandalism was out of view of their surveillance cameras, he believes the suspects came sometime Monday night into Tuesday morning because the equipment was fine when they left at 10 p.m. and damaged when they came in for a call at 4 a.m. If you have information on the vandalism, they ask that you call the fire department. That's a check of your news headlines in Western Wisconsin.
All right, Kelsey, thank you for deeper dive into any of those stories. You can head to their website, weau.com. All right, let's head to Wausau now this morning for a check of their top stories. Coming out of Channel 7, here's morning anchor Erin Taylor.
Good morning from Wausau. I'm Erin Taylor. Well, 1 in 2 families struggle to afford diapers for their children. And that's why the 3rd annual WSAW News Channel 7 Diaper Drive is more important than ever. Today through May 27th, you can donate diapers or money to help local families. In Wausau, you can drop off your donation at the Neighbor's Place on Grand Avenue. In Portage County, there are more than 20 places collecting donations. Those donations will be distributed by Laurel's Little Diaper and Hygiene Bank inside of the community thrift store.
We offer size newborns through 7s, along with pull-ups 2T through 5T. We are getting more requests for those larger sizes. So our greatest need right now in the community are those larger sizes, size 4s through 7s, as well as the pull-ups 2Ts through 5T.
If you'd rather give from the comfort of your home, you can also donate financially. The United Way takes cash, check, or online donations, and you can find a link to do that right now at WSAW.com. Well, you have an opportunity to honor fallen law enforcement officers this National Police Week. Tonight, the Midnight Piper will return to the 400 block in downtown Wausau. Beginning at 11:55 p.m., the Lone Bagpiper will play Amazing Grace. He'll play 3 verses of the song, and during the last verse, he will walk away. It's an extension of the National Police Week tribute to fallen officers performed each year at the Memorial in Washington, D.C. Well, Marshfield Clinic is making a comeback. Dr. Brian Herneman sat down with 7 Investigates Emily Davies around the 1-year mark of the Sanford Health merger. He says a thorough examination of its operations and an injection of financial support from its new parent system has boosted its recovery, and the integration between their staff is going smoothly.
There are so many things aligned going into the partnership, then out of the gate, that level of understanding was there. And then our teams culturally have been very much aligned, and that's not always the case when you get 2 health systems that come together.
He explained they have been intentional with making sure teams get in-person FaceTime despite the physical distance with the headquarters in Sioux Falls. Coming up tonight on News Channel 7 at 10, he shares updates about the system's health based on all of the reporting that Emily has done over the last few years and explains why he is so optimistic. 11 people have tested positive for the hantavirus after a deadly outbreak on a cruise ship. Hantavirus is a rodent-borne illness, and outbreaks like this are rare, But hantavirus isn't new, and it has been in Wisconsin before. Now, since 1993, there have been 6 cases of hantavirus in Wisconsin. Those cases aren't the same strain that broke out on the MV Hondius cruise ship. That's the Andes strain, the only one that can spread person to person. Now, here in Wisconsin, we can see the Sin Nombre strain. But those cases are rare and involve being close to rodents and their feces or saliva.
People who are more susceptible are those that are in contact with rodents, either in or near the house, or those that work around areas that might have rodents, such as farmers, people who work outdoors.
She says you can protect yourself by working to prevent rodent infestations. Well, that's a look at the top stories from across north central Wisconsin.
Erin, thank you for that update. For more on any of those stories, you can check them out at WSAW.com. That's it for Top Stories on Wisconsin 360 this Wednesday morning. I am signing off, but stick around. We've got Chief Meteorologist Charlie Shortino giving us a wave. He's going to detail your first alert forecast just after this short break. Make it a great day.
Hello again. It is time for your First Alert streaming show, and we are going to take a look at the weather forecast as well as look at the travel forecast and the weekend forecast coming up. The headlines are, first of all, a First Alert Day posted for Monday due to the threat of severe thunderstorms, a breezy and somewhat cool day today, and a big warming trend on the way through the remainder of the week. So let's get to it. We will start with the almanac. 63 degrees is the forecast high today. That is a little bit below average, 5 degrees below average. 49 the low this morning. That was 3 degrees above average. Record high was only 4 years ago. We hit 92 degrees in 2022. As far as the alert day goes for Monday, the latest data is indicating that there is at least a threat of some strong to severe thunderstorms moving in. At this point, it would look like afternoon and evening, although we're 5 to 6 days away from that occurring. So we will keep a close eye on it, and as new data comes in, we will update the timing of this system as it moves through. Damaging wind, hail, and tornadoes all on the table. Again, the threats will be updated as we get closer to Monday, but just planting that seed right now that there could be some of those stronger thunderstorms making their way back into the forecast after a relatively quiet period. There are some clouds just to the west and north of Madison. They're rotating in from that direction. I do think we will have a period where we go to mostly cloudy skies. That will occur for the late morning and midday hours, and then after that we are right back into sunshine, and it looks pretty nice, I think, as we get into the late afternoon and evening, as the wind will be diminishing. Until then, though, kind of breezy. If you look across the belt line, you can see some of those trees waving in the breeze. The wind currently 14 miles per hour, but there are gusts up around 25 miles per hour. Current temperature in Madison under partly cloudy skies, 52 degrees. Here are the rest of the temperatures. Most of them are low to mid 50s. We do have 48 in Oshkosh, but temperatures have been climbing from those morning lows. It has not been a rapid climb by any stretch, but at least we are climbing. You can see the wind particles coming in from the north, and that's part of the reason for the overall cool forecast coming up for today. You can see that pocket of cloudiness moving off to the east through the afternoon. I'll go with partly cloudy skies. I do think we'll have at least a brief period where we're mostly cloudy, and then may even get to mostly sunny skies by later afternoon. Some showers developing over the northern plains by tomorrow morning. We will have high pressure overhead, so light wind and clear skies to start off your Thursday. Wind becomes southerly and picks up a little bit. That will draw in warmer temperatures for tomorrow, but also increase the low-level moisture and lead to the development of some of these showers that will be pushing in from the west, and they are going to be heading in this direction. So I do think we will get into some of that. This is 8 p.m. So they'll mainly be overnight showers. We'll take it to tomorrow morning, and you can see most of that is gone by 9 a.m. I am going to include a slight chance of a shower in the forecast Friday during the morning, but then skies will become mostly sunny. Thursday and Friday both look like pretty nice days. Definitely warmer. Thursday low 70s, Friday close to 80 degrees on the high temperature. Here's our forecast for today. Partly cloudy, 63 north wind, 15 gusting to 25. Highs will range from 60 to 70 degrees. For tonight, mostly clear, lows in the upper 30s and low 40s across southern Wisconsin with a light northerly wind. The wind becomes southerly tomorrow, and we get a bump in the temperature, 72 the high. A lot of sunshine Friday as well, just a slight chance of a morning shower, 80 for the high, 84 Saturday. Probably going to feel some humidity Saturday as that low-level moisture begins to stream in. Sunday, potentially a wet day. Models are indicating rain both morning and afternoon. We will keep you updated on that as we get closer to Sunday. And then there is your severe thunderstorm threat on Monday, the first alert day, and the high at 81 degrees. So that is your first alert forecast. We are going to take a quick break, and I will be back with your travel forecast and weekend forecast in 1 minute. All right, we are back, and we are going to take a look at that travel forecast for across the nation. And big bubble of high pressure over the nation's midsection, keeping things quiet through this area. We do have some rain to the east and a little bit in the Pacific Northwest, but overall pretty quiet forecast across the nation for the next couple days. We will have this system getting itself together off to the west of here, and that will make its way toward us, spinning by to the north, but the front associated with it will trigger that rain Thursday night. There it is, pushing through the north central part of the nation, then heading off to the east of here. Saturday morning, things looking pretty quiet, maybe some clouds initially, but a lot of sunshine during the day Saturday. Watch out for this guy, though. An area of low pressure will be developing in this general vicinity. That is going to be moving in for Sunday, and it will bring the likelihood of rain with it. Pretty quiet across the nation as far as travel goes. No significant travel delays. We have a couple spots, Las Vegas and San Francisco, you can see in red. Those are bad data points. Travel fine in those areas with no delays being reported. Here's the weekend forecast. Some warmer temperatures coming up. La Crosse 85, 84 Friday, Saturday. Madison 80 and 84, 81, 85 Saturday in Wisconsin Dells. So very summer-like weather coming up with low probabilities of precipitation until Sunday. On Sunday, it does look like we will have some of that rain moving in, and same story goes to the north, although chances are at least a little bit lower to the north of here of picking up some of that rain. But the Twin Cities, high probabilities on Sunday, same with Eau Claire. As we head to the south, good chances of rain Saturday, even better chances on Sunday for Davenport, Dubuque, Rockford. So it is looking fairly wet across the region for at least the second half of the upcoming weekend. We follow the weekend up once again with that threat of severe thunderstorms, and that will come into play on Monday. And we have gone with the first alert day for Monday due to that threat of damaging wind, large hail, and potentially some tornadoes. So that is your 15+ first alert forecast for today. Delaney's in this evening. She will have another one at 4:30, and then again at 8:15 this evening. I will be back tomorrow morning at the same time with another streaming update. Until then, have a great day.